I'm Ann Wilsnack, and I've lived in Helena for now over 40 years, quite a bit over 40, 45 years. And I've been making mobiles for maybe 25 of those years. And I started with metal, and then I went to lots of natural things. I would be on a river and I'd be looking for smoothed out sticks and seed pods and interesting other seed pods, but just all sorts of beautiful things from nature. And I made a lot of mobiles, and I've sold some of them, and I've given some away. And recently I've been so concerned about plastic. And I know that all of us have it in our bodies now, and not just us, but all the animals that have never gotten anything good out of plastic are suffering often because of it. And I believe that some of the illnesses that we're having are from this very toxic material. And I decided I wanted to do a mobile show. So I'm so excited that the Holter said, yes, let's do it. And I worked very hard last summer and into the fall making mobiles, and some of which you'll be able to see in a few minutes. And then I packed them away, and recently Jeannie came and took pictures of the mobiles as we spread them out on the floor to figure out where we're going to hang them in this beautiful part of the gallery, the Nicholson Gallery. And doing this has made me really appreciate plastic. There's all sorts of things that plastic does for us that it's hard to find alternatives to. It's hard, it lasts a long time, it can be really pretty colors, you can make tons of different shapes with it. And we use it so much, but so much of it is also, it's not recycled very much. That's sort of the big lie. Oh, we'll use plastic, we'll recycle it like we can with glass and metal. And those things recycle pretty easily. And you can recycle some plastics, but in general, these go into our landfills, and often they go into our rivers, and you've heard about the Texas-size pile of plastics that are in the Pacific Ocean and other oceans. I've been to India, and there were the creek beds were just full of plastic. That was where people threw them, and then when the monsoons come, they washed them all down into the ocean, and they're being really hard on our seafood and our seabirds and our sea mammals. So I'm really concerned. I'm hoping that my show kind of wakes people up to, oh my gosh, oh yeah, and I bought those, and this is packaging that's only going to be used once, and it's just going the way of things. And I'd like to see us really working on alternatives. So that was sort of my heart reason to do that. But my artist reason was that it's really fun to work with. It's strong. If I drop a mobile, unlike some of the seed pods I used to work with, it's no problem. Plastic is strong, and it does last for a really long time. This one, I like to eat gluten-free, and I can buy gluten-free pie crusts at the Real Food Market. But the pie crusts come with these little plastic covers on top of them to protect them, and use them once. I had fun putting a little glitter on them, partly because they were already sticky, and I thought, oh, well, I'll just put some glitter on. Some of these are containers, the kinds of things that we buy are, I want to say tofu, but it's probably not that, hummus or salads, all sorts of things. So these are a lot of containers in this one. I don't even know what all these things are, but of course this is pretty obvious. So cars get in accidents, and their light, their rear lights, what are those called, break, and people are don't think to pick it up but I do when I come by because they're such great colors and they'll last so long. These are something that is used, I mean, it's something that was used to put on and then maybe created a space for a strap, but I just had some of them and used that. At one point we had, I think this mobile is called Sampler because that's got part of a heart-shaped sampler for chocolate. You can't get away from this in our world. This one, these I made quite a while ago, and they do have glass beads on them, which I think add to their beauty, though most of the ones I did for the show don't have glass beads. And this was some of the leftovers from the roof of over my front porch that I think I very intelligently decided to have glass or this plastic stuff over the front porch because it's on the north side of my house, and if I had had a regular roof over there, it would be so much darker in my house as well. So, I mean, another reason we want plastic is, hey, it gives us a pretty strong roofing material. But I really appreciated being able to use some of those leftovers. Shall we go this way? This is obviously eggs. So 24 eggs lived in here, and they didn't live, but they were ready to take. And now it's just, in fact, I took off some of it, but it's trash. And supposedly we all have at least a credit card worth of plastic in our bodies. And our children are also dealing with this. And there's so much plastic that children are exposed to. And then a lot of these things are packaging materials. This I found in my trash. I don't know what my neighbors were throwing out, but I went, oh, that'll be a fun thing to put as a cross piece in my mobile. And again, so up there's containers for seaweed. I really like that seaweed. And then some of these are just, things I might have cut. And this was the piece that went around the plastic on the gluten-free pie crust that I was having. And it doesn't have to be gluten-free. They make these for regular kinds of pies too. More of these. It's like I'd like to buy more of those, but I don't like buying the plastic. So I figured out some other ways to make a crust for my quiches and other things that I try not to use these very much, but hey, I'm alive in this century, and doing it simply is certainly a possibility. This was at the top of a building over just right here in Helena. It had been covering some sort of a thing. Maybe it was for a air conditioner or something, but I just love the way these squares divide this space, and I think it's a really elegant little mobile. This was like for a doll, like an inner tube for a doll. I don't know what, but I found it. I think you can see that it's somewhat faded. Plastic keeps its color pretty well, but if it's in the sun for long enough, it'll fade. And these were just pretty much all things I found, though this is from the plastic for my noodles, actually gluten-free noodles. And these work quite well for cross pieces. So I was trying to use plastic for this, and there are some plastic pieces. Actually, there's one piece of bamboo in there that is like, oh, it's not really, but I've tried not to use much natural material, but I did do that. But these cross pieces, if you roll up the bags of the blueberries, and they're actually quite strong and can hold up quite a bit. These guys, when we had our rugs cleaned, they wanted to get the furniture off the rug, so they put ones of these and then they left them. They didn't recycle them. They could have used that, but they brought them there, and what am I going to do with them? I'm going to put them in a mobile. Of course, lids are always a fun color. These are broken ones of those nice velvet covered clothes hangers, and I just had fun with that. They had interesting shapes and colors, and I put it with this fabric. Could be some cotton, but so much of our fabric now is plastic, and it's shedding constantly. And we use it. I mean, my pants, my skirt, a lot of things that we're wearing all the time, and our glasses are almost always plastic. I've been wearing a contact lens. It's plastic. The container for it is plastic. We need to be thinking about alternatives or reusing. And this one, it's this time of year now where we're all wanting to go out and get some new plants for the spring and the summer, and it's exciting. We'll be doing it soon. And some places will bring these back. Chadwick's, you can sometimes bring back your containers and they might get reused, but most of them probably are not. And then this was some packing strips that I just found on a walk, and folded it up and made this kind of tree. This stuff, there's quite a bit in my show, because hay used to be dealt with other kinds of rope that were actually natural and would decompose. But these work really well. I mean, I talked to someone who has done some work with bales, and you can pick stuff up, they don't break, but they don't go away either. So if you're feeding animals and livestock, you've got a pile of these strings and strands that are sometimes picked up by birds that then, if it gets caught around you, the bird can die. And but they're using some of that for their nests, and which is making me think about being on the Pacific Ocean and finding a pelican who was so tied up in the plastic fishing line that it couldn't really fly, but it could get away from me. And I was by myself. I was trying to, somehow protect it or take it home, but it had a lot of life in it, but it was going to die. There was no way it could survive with the amount of plastic that was wrapped around it. And it wouldn't have been something for me. I needed a knife if I could have gotten it to stand still while I worked on it. So just sort of a little tragedy that we need to stop doing. It's going to be affecting our children, our grandchildren, ourselves. And my hope is you'll enjoy the beauty and fun of these mobiles, but I'd really like you to be thinking about how to reduce and demand that you don't have to buy everything in plastic. Just I'm not going to buy that. It's too much plastic, and that's another option. So, wishing us all really, really well.